Calm the Frontier Economy, Episode 1, The AI Jobs Apocalypse That Hasn't Happened Yet. For 3 years, the headline has been the same. AI is coming for your job. Mass layoffs, entire departments gone. The end of white-collar work as we know it. So here's a question worth asking before you believe it. If that's true, where's the unemployment? Because when economists actually went and looked at Denmark, at the United States, at over 1 billion job postings worldwide, they found something stranger than either the doomers or the hype men expected. AI isn't destroying jobs in aggregate, but it's also not leaving everyone alone. It's splitting the workforce in two. And which side you're on might already be decided by your job title. This is the frontier economy. Let's look at what the data actually shows. Start with the most direct test anyone's run on this question. Denmark. Denmark's a useful test case because it has unusually good labor data and unusually high AI adoption. If AI was going to visibly wreck a labor market, Denmark would be one of the first places you'd see it. The IMF mapped detailed occupational data against AI exposure and complementarity across the Danish workforce. Their finding: most Danish workers are likely to benefit from AI adoption. About 1/5 of the workforce carries real displacement risk, concentrated specifically among private sector employees, women, and tertiary educated workers. But the overall employment and earnings picture didn't show the kind of broad collapse the AI jobs apocalypse framing predicts. A separate Danish study, looking specifically at earnings and hours across occupations, found no significant impact at all from AI on those measures. Zoom out to the global picture, and the 2026 International AI Safety Report, a survey of the actual research literature, not a single study, says the same thing in plainer terms. Early evidence on AI's employment effects is mixed, but national-level studies, including Denmark and the US, find no discernible relationship between AI exposure and changes in overall employment. So if you've been waiting for the aggregate jobs apocalypse, the one where unemployment spikes and stays there, it hasn't shown up. Not yet, and not in the way it was predicted to. That's worth sitting with for a second, because it cuts against almost everything you've been told to expect. But, and this is the part that gets dropped from the headline, no aggregate effect is not the same thing as no effect. The same research that clears AI of mass unemployment also points directly at where the real story is hiding. The effect isn't on jobs in general, it's concentrated, hard, on people just starting out. Stanford's 2026 AI Index, the most comprehensive annual data set on AI's economic footprint, found that employment for software developers aged 22 to 25 has fallen nearly 20% since 2024. Not slowed, fallen. Meanwhile, employment for mid-career and senior developers in the exact same field held steady or grew. Same profession, same AI exposure, completely different outcome, depending entirely on how many years you've been doing the job. The pattern repeats outside tech. Customer service shows the same split: entry-level erosion, senior-level stability. The IMF's broader research backs this up with a specific number. Since ChatGPT's release, early career workers aged 22 to 25, in the most AI-exposed occupations, have seen a 13% relative decline in employment compared to their less exposed or more senior peers, whose employment kept growing. Here's the mechanism, and it's a genuinely interesting one once you see it. A junior employee's traditional job has always been to do the routine, supervised work, drafting the first version, doing the first pass, while building judgment over years through repetition. AI is now capable of doing a meaningful share of exactly that routine, supervised work. Which means the apprenticeship rung of the ladder is the one getting kicked out, not the top of the ladder, the bottom of it. That's a genuinely different problem than AI is taking everyone's job. It's AI is taking the job you used to use to get the next job. And if you're past that stage of your career, it's very easy to miss entirely, which is probably part of why the broader narrative split into nothing's
Now for the part that should genuinely surprise you, because it inverts the most common assumption about AI and jobs entirely. PwC's 2026 Global AI Jobs Barometer analysed over 1 billion job postings across 27 countries. Their finding, companies most exposed to AI, the ones using it the most, are growing headcount faster than companies barely using it at all. 52% headcount growth versus 36% relative to 2018 levels. Wages are growing faster there too, 24% versus 17%. Read that again, because it's the opposite of the standard AI replaces workers story. The companies leaning hardest into AI are hiring more, not less, and paying more for it. PwC's explanation is straightforward once you hear it. The companies seeing the biggest returns aren't using AI mainly to cut headcount and save money. They're using it to do new things, enter new markets, build new products, take on work they couldn't have taken on before. AI didn't replace the workers they had. It let them go after revenue they couldn't previously chase. And that growth required more people, not fewer. PwC calls this the two-track labour market, and it's the clearest organising idea in this entire research base. Jobs are splitting into two categories: professionalised roles, where AI takes over the routine part of a skilled job and leaves the judgment, leadership, and complex decision-making to the human, are growing twice as fast as the market overall, with 42% faster wage growth. Think recruiters, radiologists, roles where AI does the grunt work and the human does the part that actually requires expertise. Democratized roles, where AI makes the job easier for someone with less specialized skill to do it, are growing far more slowly. The job doesn't disappear, it just stops being worth as much because the thing that made it valuable was the expertise, and now the expertise matters less. Same technology, same companies, often the same departments, completely different outcome depending on which side of that split your specific role falls on. Put the three findings together because individually they sound contradictory, and together they're actually a coherent, fairly precise picture. 1. In aggregate, across the whole economy, AI has not caused a jobs apocalypse. The data from Denmark, the US, and the broader research literature agrees on that. 2. That calm aggregate number is hiding a real, measurable concentration of pain at the entry level, a 13 to 20% employment decline for the youngest workers in the most exposed roles, while their senior colleagues are fine. 3. At the company level, the businesses using AI most aggressively are hiring more and paying more, not less, because they're using it to grow into new territory, not just to cut costs. If you're early in your career in an AI-exposed field, the apprenticeship rung you were counting on may genuinely be thinner than it used to be. That's real, and pretending otherwise wouldn't serve you. If you're more senior, or if your role leans toward judgment, leadership, and complex decision-making rather than routine execution, the data right now is quietly in your favor. And if you're deciding how your own company should be using AI, the companies winning aren't the ones treating it purely as a cost-cutting tool. They're the ones treating it as a way to do more. None of that is the apocalypse. None of it is nothing to worry about either. It's a frontier, uneven, already dividing people into two tracks, and most of the people living through it haven't been told which track they're actually on. That's the frontier. Back to your inbox.